Alright guys, we're going to look through now some single leg variations of the barbell hip thrust, or just general like shoulder elevated bridge variations in general. So Emma's going to come up onto the bench. Considerations again for setup going to be, we think about the bottom of the shoulder blades. That's roughly the line that the bench is going to be on. So if we were to see, for example, this line is going to line up just, and the way to almost see that is if you bring your arm up, it's kind of going to be in line with like your armpit line, roughly. That's a good way to kind of gauge this. Now, brings arm down. Next, rib cage, pelvis position. So rib cage and pelvis are going to stay in line throughout. So what we need to do in order to do that is just make sure that if we're at that top position, if we start from up here, the Emma's got her pelvis fully tucked under and through, so she's fully extended the hips. What we don't want to see though is we don't want to overextend and it starts coming through the lower back. You can even do that even more, over exaggerate it. Exactly, you start to see that big excessive lumbar curve. We don't want that. We want to make sure rib cage is down, all the whilst the pelvis is tucking under, and you should see that it's actually quite a flat position through here. So once we've got that rib cage and pelvis position locked in, you'll then find that if Em was to lift one leg up off the floor, and that foot is going to kind of stay in line as it would if you were doing like a bilateral variation. This position doesn't change whether you're doing bilateral or unilateral. Now that she's in this position, you can see that this shin is fairly vertical. She can also bring her elbows up here if she wants to without weight to support herself a little bit. Once she has some weight though, she might need to take one arm off or both arms off to support some loads. She has a barbell, etc. From here, she's going to maintain this position. She's going to start lowering herself down into the movement, and she's only going to go to the range that if she feels like she's able to keep control in this glute on this side here. She's going to contract the glute out of this bottom position and extend through to the top, making sure that both the movements on the way down and those endpoints at the bottom and at the top are nice and controlled. What we don't want to see is just like dropping out in this bottom position and then hammering up into that top position. Now there are going to be times we want a little bit of speed on the way up, but anytime we add speed, it still has to be controlled speed. And hold a second. Now, for some individuals, this may actually be too much or too hard to start with, so we can actually regress this movement a little bit more. And it's also a great movement for if we want to add a barbell and we want to do loading with one leg as well. We can do what's called a B stance hip thrust. So you'll see that Em's going to keep the foot, the knee and the hip in the same position she had before, but the only difference is now she's going to take this leg and she's going to place that heel somewhere in line with the kind of toe of the working side. Now what you'll also notice as well, she's not putting lots of weight through here, although she can if she starts to get tired on this side towards the end, just to give a bit of mechanical advantage. But what we're really using this for is it's more just to provide a balance point so that she's able to increase overall stability in the movement and drive more output through this side here. So if you go through a couple of reps in, so you'll see now that that heel is just simply providing a balance point to increase stability, but the focus and all the work is still going through this working side here. Now if you just swap feet, so we can see that on this side. So as you can see, bring this foot back a bit. Great, so knee is stacked over the ankle. This heel is just in line with this foot or slightly in front, it's fine. And then from there, she's going to extend, contracting this glute on this side, keeping that rib cage down and working within her active available range.